This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Junior.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted Wide Open. Thank you.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome, everybody, to BWO Live Late Night Edition. This is episode number 331 of Busted Wide Open. My name is Nick Howell.
And standing with my legs spread wide open just to look shorter, just like our Lord and Savior, the F-bomber of faces, the dough in your nut, young boy Tom Spiracy Phillips, may he rest in peace. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to Busted Wide Open. That's right, man. It's our big Friday night show. It's a late night Friday night show. Why? Thanks, NBA. Thanks, basketball. Thanks, TNT having to move in Dynamite to Friday night, and that being a go-home show for Double or Nothing, which is this Sunday, which means that we've got to do the show Friday night, late, after it's done, because we need all the go-home goodies.
I'll see nobody. There's 17 hockey games on a week at this point, because it's also the NHL playoffs.
Right.
I don't see nobody moving wrestling matches and shows around for the hockey playoffs. What's up with that?
I don't know. NBA gets more views. TNT's an NBA station. There you go. Boom shakalaka, and here we are.
Hockey greater than NBA, fight me.
I don't want to because you like hockey. It means you're probably a hockey fighter. I don't want my shirt pulled over my head.
I'll pull my shirt off.
But here we are. As a result, they're doing it again next week. We won't be able to keep it up for next week. We had to do it this week, Nick.
Yes.
It's too late for you, I know, but we got to do it this week because you sacrificed, sir. You stayed up late.
Let's go.
You'll be good.
Let's go.
Got that caffeine. We got to do it because Double or Nothing is this Sunday, and that means we have to report on all of the Double or Nothing go-home goodies from AEW and give our pick'ems for that show. We also have Smackdown, which went on earlier this evening. We'll talk about that. And, of course, way back on Tuesday when we were doing our last show, they threw NXT at us, including an absolute barn burner of a title match. Oh, my God, it was good.
Lord of mercy.
That's a big show right there. That is a whole huge Big Mac helping of a show there, Nick. We're going to have a lot of talking ahead of us. So let's do some business, and then we will jump in to our show.
Well, we're going to catch up first. Guys, linktree.com/BWO. Not going to linger on too much of this stuff tonight. You guys know where all the stuff is, but that is the one link you need to find all the links to all of our other stuff. We got brand new merch. The BWO Funhouse line has been released across an entire series of merch. We got several people that have picked them up. Let's see if we get any Vanguard 1 sightings tonight. More coming soon. So we're very excited about all the new graphics. Hope you guys love them. Kind of 80s synth vibe feel to it. Love it. But we're going to be bringing some additional merch out as we go through the year this year to really reflect on that.
Put my mom onto it. Put my mom onto it today, actually. She had no idea where to get the merch, and I said linktree.com/BWO, bottom of the page.
There you go.
And she went over, and she's like, oh, those are fine, but don't you have any of just Dog Ziggler?
Soon.
Thanks, Mom.
Soon, trademark.
Thanks. Yes, Mom. We're getting ones of just the dog soon, so you want to stare at your son and your son's business partner. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
But yes, linktree.com/BWO. Thank you, patrons, for all your support. Thank you to everybody for all the super chats and Twitch subs and bits. And on that note, I have to give a big old shout out to our former BWO Patron Pick'ems champion, Mike Miller, for keeping the tip jar alive with a massive 50 bomb into the tip jar while we were offline. And he says, congrats on 4 years, boys. Been hard to listen live since my daughter was born in January. Congratulations. But I wanted to send some love and hope to be back in chat more often soon. Long live the tip jar, and shout out to Abe for keeping it alive with me. Thank you so much, Mike, for the 50 bomb,
Love,
dude.
Mike.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much, man. So much. Thank you.
Kyle Cotton continues his gifted sub ways. He is on a
Saint
tear.
Kyle.
Saint Kyle with his gifted
Saint
subs. Time Strike, Evil 4304. I thought it was some CJ. All got gifted subs. Infamous 5P got gifted subs from Kyle Cotton. Kyle, thank you so much for all the gifted subs, man. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Man. Kyle is going down, baby. Your street in a Range Rover. Good Lord. Street sweeper.
He
Cock,
also
ready to let
followed
go.
that up with 100 bits and said Nick is basically Fry in Futurama. It's Friday night. I got no date, and all I have is this 2-liter of orange soda and my Rush mixtape. Let's rock.
That sounds like an absolutely fantastic Friday night.
Except I would swap out the orange soda for probably Mountain Dew.
Diet Coke or Mountain Dew.
Diet Coke, yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny. I'm kind of off the Diet Coke now.
No.
I've kind of come back around to a Mountain Dew kick. So it's water.
Who are you?
I'm drinking a lot of water.
Who are you?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Kyle, for all the bits
I'm having a
and
whiskey
the
drink,
subs.
so it's I'm sticking with my character. I'm having a whiskey drink.
But enough of all of that bollocks. We got some wrestling to talk about because we're going home to Double or Nothing over on AEW Dynamite.
I made this too quickly and put too much bitters in it. But you know what? That's kind of like the show we had tonight, where it's basically just a big advertisement for Double or Nothing, and some of it was hits and some of it was some wild misses, Nick. I got to say, this show did not entirely hit everything for me.
Okay.
But let's do this a little bit differently than how we normally do it. We're going to go through the show. We're going to talk about the segments that were promoting each of the matches because it was a very promotional heavy show. And then we're going to give our pick'ems for that match that's coming up on Sunday. And anything that they didn't really promote heavily on the show, for example, the Casino Battle Royale, we will give our picks to that afterwards. So let's start. Let's start at the big matches on Sunday, the title matches. Kenny Omega is facing off against Pac and Orange Cassidy in a triple threat match. Tonight, Orange Cassidy was supposed to come out and give Kenny his answer to Kenny's ultimatum, where he said, don't injure yourself. Why don't you defer your title shot till later? He gave him a contract to sign and said, come on out. It was time. Shivani was in the ring, ready for Orange Cassidy to come out. Cassidy did not come out. You know who else came out? The other person in the damn match.
The Bastard.
He felt like a fifth wheel or a third wheel if you're on a motorcycle. And here he was, the Bastard, telling Tony Schiavone to go away.
Piss
It's his
off.
time. And he's not very happy about the fact that he feels like an afterthought in this match. And I wouldn't be either because he totally does.
Yeah.
But then Don Callis showed up on the screen saying, of course we're not going to be out there facing you, Pac. We wouldn't get in the ring with you, you scumbag. But don't turn around because here comes Kenny Omega behind you. Well, of course he does turn around. Kenny Omega gets the better of him, but puts him in the one-wing angel position. But before he can do it, out comes Orange Cassidy and the rest of the best friends. Nick, I should mention at this point, we had, for the first time in over a year, a full house.
I think that's the story of the night, frankly.
I
had so many emotions tonight above and beyond whatever happened in the storylines of the show that we're going to talk about throughout the show tonight. It hit me in all the feels. It was like the before times. it was almost like it was kind of a signal. Let me just get this out now. 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Tonight was a signal that I don't want to say everything's going to be okay, but we made it. Like we're not out of the woods yet, folks. Don't get me wrong. We got a long road ahead of us to get past COVID and whatever else may come. However, tonight was a signal that 16 months have gone by since this thing, like we're into June. We were shut down last year in March. 16 months have gone by where we had no fans. And it tonight was seeing a full house, seeing the rearrangement of the ring on Dynamite back to the before times where they had the tunnels coming to opposite sides of the ring. Like it's been reconfigured. Everything.
It was weird. It wasn't 100% like back to normal. We had one ramp coming out at an angle.
Yeah.
There were fans up on the stage, and seats back up on the stage. There was like there's an open space between the ring and the stage, and then there was no second ramp. It was just the one entranceway. It was a little odd.
Yeah.
And sometimes it felt a little awkward. There was a hard cam on the far side, but then like they would be kind of at 3/4. They were cheating to 3/4 of both other sides of the ring. It was kind of an odd setup where it was half what it's been the last year and half what it would have been otherwise, which maybe that was their way of signaling it's a transition. I don't know. It was odd. I wasn't entirely mad at it, but it was definitely weird. What was not weird, Nick, as you said, was the sound of that crowd. Oh my God.
Several
First,
times I got kind of the goosies throughout the night.
The goosies.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing to like to see that many people in one place was definitely weird after a year. But you could feel when Cassidy came out. And Nick, we've spent a long time, we spent a lot of breath worrying about Orange Cassidy's gimmick
during the pandemic era, specifically
during the pandemic, because they did a lot of work with him. He was in a lot of main events over the pandemic, especially last summer. And one of the big things I was worried about is overexposing that gimmick because, and maybe this is just, I've seen it too much in WWE where they find something that's really cool and then they shove it into your face until it's dead. And Orange Cassidy's gimmick is one that would be so easy to overplay. It would be so easy to show you all the cool stuff and then do it again and again and again and again until it wasn't cool anymore. It would stop being cool very quickly. But there is something miraculous happening with Orange Cassidy's gimmick where it's evolving into something that he has to do somehow even less than he was doing before. And he's over as hell. And he feels like the way that he comes out behind now the best friends, the way that he stands in the ring, the way that he poses, he now feels that crowd treats him like a big deal. And it actually does what you want in a star. When the crowd treats him like a big deal, the way that he reacts to it makes it feel like a bigger deal. And it all compounds and compounds. He felt like a goddamn star when he came out because of the crowd.
Yep.
And because of their perception of him, because of the way that he handled it and the way that he reacted to it, or in his case, didn't react to it and just kind of fed off it. He just stood there, and the way that but his demeanor worked. It worked with it. That was it was reassuring about him as a performer and him as a character, but it said a lot about how much more life that gimmick has in it.
Totally. And I kind of clocked onto something tonight that I never really appreciated before. We've got, you've got Big Show and Paul White and Braun Strowman the big guys, the 7-footers that step over the top rope. You've got most people that step through the middle rope. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody like lazily just roll underneath the very bottom rope before. And that really hit me for the first time. And I went, that's just genius.
There's so many specific things that he does that people latch on to. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of performers that do specific things. Like Pac is a very unique character. Kenny Omega does a lot of over the top theatrical things. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not so out of left field. It's not so unique. Like Orange Cassidy is really, really unique. I'm relieved personally to see the crowds came back. And they're not sick of him. They're not sick of the gimmick, and it's working. And it actually, if anything, it's being exacerbated by the crowds in a good way.
I saw NXT superfan Kyle in attendance. I associate him with NXT because he was always there in the Performance Center. But it was nice to see, again, more signals that we made it. It's okay. Fans are back.
He's been back for a while. He's been there for most of the shows. I've seen him at most of the shows. I'm probably waiting to get Kip Sabian to make out with him again, I would imagine. But, at the same time, it's nice. Yeah, he's a signal. When I see green shirt dude and long-haired guy with his mom, the guy who I nicknamed Mantar for some reason, even though he has nothing to do with Mantar, and his mom, or a girlfriend or whatever's going on there. I have no idea. When I see them back in the front row of WWE audiences, that's when I know it's over. Yeah. But at the same time, it was nice to see the audience back. It's nice to hear the audience back. A lot of moments on the show, as you said, Nick, that gave us goosies when it happened. So Orange Cassidy comes out, gets a huge ovation, gets into the ring, gives Kenny a poorly written envelope. They cross out the Kenny one time, gives it to him. Kenny pours it out. It's a torn up contract, and then the fireworks start. Orange Cassidy punches Kenny, gets face off with, tries to pick up the belt. Pac faces off with him. He punches Pac, stands tall, going into Double or Nothing. So what do you have here? We've got Kenny Omega, Pac, and Orange Cassidy. Does Kenny Omega lose his belt this soon? Orange Cassidy, Pac, or is it Kenny Omega's walking out with this?
Kenny Omega retains. I mean, are we doing our picks now?
Yes, we are in the middle of as we're going down this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Kenny Omega retains.
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel as well.
You got the Bucks, you got the Good Brothers, you got Don Callis. There's all going to be all kinds of shenaniganry.
All kinds of shenanigans, and it's a triple threat.
Right. So it's all legal. So there's no way. Now, with that said, you're also probably going to have Pentagon and Phoenix. You're also going to have the Best Friends floating around. It's going to be a madhouse, and I'm here for it. Like, I like this kind of stuff when they've spent the time and they've invested in the relationships and the factions. It makes sense when you're going to have backup in a triple threat match like this. You don't kind of roll your eyes at the shenanigans as they're happening, because you want them to happen, because the faction members should be there backing up their guy, right? So yeah, it doesn't feel random. It feels like it's part of the act, part of each performer in the ring, to have those people in their corners.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to have Best Friends out there and Death Triangle out there, and I mean, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah, there's likely to be 20 people around the ring.
But it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Definitely.
I think another match is going to be
Trent's mom Sue might show up in the minivan. You never know.
It's quite possible.
You never know.
It's quite possible.
Yeah.
I want to see Kenny Omega get bounced off the hood like Stone Cold off of a limo.
Nice reference.
Thank you very much. Another match I think will be a lot of fun. Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. We had a segment here where they celebrated Shida being women's champion for a year, being the champ through the pandemic. They gave her a nice shiny new belt with diamond encrusted. It was basically the same woman's belt, but just blingier. There's more bling.
Blingmanier?
It was bling-blier. Yes. I had a hard time telling them apart. I'm like, well, that one's a little shinier.
That one's a little more gold than silver.
Yeah, it's still the same little.
And it was
weird,
rounder instead of like that kind of
belt.
diamondy shape.
Yeah, I still think the belt's too small.
It is,
but at least it's blingier. But they said
it's Riho sized.
It is Riho sized, and Sheeta's not much bigger, but she's got a little more beef on her. But she turned to the crowd and said, "Hey, this title is not just for me; it's for all of you. We're back. Yay, crowd reaction." But here's the thing. And they were very polite. They applauded her. They cheered her. She did feel like it was a nice moment.
Yeah.
But then Britt Baker came out. And what we were just saying about Orange Cassidy getting that reaction, holy shit. Britt Baker is over AF.
We were talking about it in Discord, and I had this moment where I distinctly remembered in 2019, before Dynamite started the summer, Brandy was putting out all these promo videos of the people they were signing. Like Cody and QT were doing the videos they were signing of people they were signing, and then Brandy started doing the women's division signings. And I remember the first time I saw Britt, I went, that girl's going to be a star. And then it was kind of weird. She couldn't really find her footing. And then the heel turn on the Jericho Cruise that I've referenced a bajillion times at this point.
That's the promo.
That was the turn.
Get it.
That was the turn. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, throughout the entire, people give Shida credit for carrying us through the pandemic. I would argue Britt Baker from a wheelchair in the back of a golf cart did a better job of carrying the women's division than Hikaru Shida did as the champion. So yeah. I hear you, but thank you, Shida, for your service. It's time to move on. Britt Baker's going to be a megastar.
That's what she was saying. She says, that's exactly what she said. She said, thank you for your service, essentially. Like, you were the champ for the pandemic era. It's now time for a different era. And before me, there was 316. Now it's DMD. And the entire audience did it with her. And there's no lie. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem with Britt Baker. She feels like Thanos. She feels inevitable.
Or you may go. You may, Doc Holliday.
You may go now.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize you were still here. You may go.
It does feel inevitable. So I'm assuming that we're both taking Britt on Sunday then.
150%. Mm-hmm. It's time.
It feels like you kind of have to at this point. If they don't, they are majorly missing a trick here. To absolutely coronate her and put her at the top. And, she is an absolute star.
Cody she will stand at the top of the women's division for the next few years easily.
Sure, but she's going to carry that title for the rest of the year.
Totally.
At least, and elevate everyone who gets into a match with her.
Yep.
Plus, she's earned it. Not only Shida has been, I heard, so Cody, again, like Cody did a media call, and there two things stood out for me. One, where he called Shida the ace of AEW, which, Jericho is the ace of AEW. whether or not he's in a title picture, it feels like a big deal. That's how you know. Shida was in a title match with Abaddon, and it was in the middle of the show, and no one cared. That's not an ace.
No.
So
Cody was more of an ace with the TNT Championship than she was.
Cody made himself more of an ace.
Now,
again, not to discount Shida. She did a lot of work. She did a lot of work behind the scenes that we didn't even see. She put together a lot of things during the pandemic, and she was a champ in a very difficult time. Credit where credit's due. But let's also not go overboard with this.
Sure.
Britt Baker is, you could see here, and this is a recurring problem with the show tonight. There were too many segments where people that you didn't want to overshadow other people overshadowed other people. In this match, you want to feel like Shida is your big, awesome babyface champ, and she's going to go into this match and heroically defend her title against this, suddenly hot heel who's been building over the last year, and now she's right at the top of her game, and she's red hot and coming for her, and you're worried for the babyface. It didn't feel like that. This, as you said, thank you, you may go. This felt like, okay, Shida, you've done your time. Britt's the real thing now. It's just a matter of a formality of the match on Sunday, and it's Britt's time.
Sure.
And again, I'm going to come back to this over and over on the show where why did this segment feel like this person was such a bigger deal than the other person? It's playing their hand in a way. So I'll go on to another one where that was the case. Miro is having a match with Lance Archer on Sunday for the TNT Championship. So Miro had a match against Dante Martin, one half of Top Flight, who looked like
he was about a quarter of the size of Miro.
A grown-ass man beating up a 12-year-old.
Right.
It's like Dante got a couple of like high-flying moves, and one of which was really cool. Like Miro tossed him the outside. He somehow landed on his feet and came back in on a springboard. It was pretty awesome. That was about it. The rest was Miro just murdering the poor lad.
Yeah.
Murdering him gleefully.
Put him in the Acolyte, rolled it over into the Game Over, and it was just, it was beautiful.
And playing to the crowd, trying to heal it up, which was cute because, they were asking, he's kicked him in the back and the crowd goes one more time. So he goes to do it again and then doesn't and goes, ha, 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 screw you guys. I don't do what you want. But they loved it even more.
Yeah.
Everyone's loving the fact that Miro has turned into the badass we always wanted him to be. So then at the end of the match, out comes Jake the Snake to pontificate on Miro and kind of throw some like loose barbs his way.
Sounds like a drunk Cajun from Southern New Orleans,
In your native language. Well, that's what he did. He said, in your native language, Miro, that means shut the F up. What was that, Jake? That's almost
Jake's
as
on the
toothless
sauce again, folks.
Right.
Somebody call DDP.
That joke was almost as toothless as your head without the implants. Woo. Like, that was bad. And then Lance is just pacing behind him, and Miro's mic finally starts working, and he goes, stop holding your boy back. And Jake goes, cool. Lance, sick him.
Sick him.
Lance runs down to the ring and beats the crap out of Miro, tosses him out of the ring. That was good. But you gave Miro an entire squash match before this, and he's so over with the crowd that at the end, Lance is standing tall, posing on the ring, on the turnbuckles with his music playing, and Miro still felt like a bigger deal. It was like, cool, Lance, that you came down and beat up the bully, but they've been spending so much more time on Miro, he still feels like a bigger deal.
This match, low-key, might steal the show Sunday. That's what I'm calling.
Fully. I am 100% in agreement with you. Yeah. Big hoss dudes who are willing to go there and are have way more athleticism than people give them credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree this could steal the show.
Who you taking in this one?
Miro.
Miro to retain?
He's not losing it this quickly.
I don't think this is the last time we'll see these two go at each other. This might be an ongoing feud. Much like we had Brody Cody a couple of times. I look at this. I look at the Miro's retaining. That's my call. But this is Archer's got next, right? In that sense, I feel like he's going. They've got to do something with Archer. It's been a year.
I know, but it doesn't feel like. It still feels like he is the hurdle. He's the guy that they use to put over the big boys, whether it's Cody or Miro or whatever. Like he's the upper mid card stepping stone.
Is Jake the problem in this? Should Jake just get out of the way?
He's becoming the problem. I feel like he's a perception issue for Lance. Where like here he's holding Lance back. Like, why are you holding Lance? Miro doesn't have any chains on him. He broke Kip's arm. Do you know what I mean? Have Lance toss Jake through a ceiling. Maybe that'll get his edge back. So I'm assuming you're taking Miro as well.
100%. With zero doubts. Let me do a couple of call-outs real quick so we don't get behind. Mr. Divian, thank you, sir, threw in 100 bits, said working out the production bugs before Sunday. I guess talking about the ring configuration and the fans and stuff. It's going to be interesting to see. By the way, speaking of production, there were fireworks going on through the entire show inadvertently, like for some reason.
It's Memorial Day weekend, man. It's Florida.
Right,
People are blowing shit up the second they get off work.
But
I'm off work.
It sounded like the proper pyro, like fireworks shows coming out of the stadium for the Jaguars. They were just constantly going on over the top of Kenny Omega trying to promo.
They had a full crowd. I wouldn't be surprised if there were people in the parking lots, like just out there by their cars.
We blow a lot of shit up in the South. That's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Thank you, Divian. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, well, this is the first AEW triple threat. Is that true? Have they not had a triple threat match before?
I want to say they've had a triple threat, but not for a title.
I believe Kyle. He's usually pretty solid on that.
It's fairly accurate.
I feel like they've had a triple threat before, though.
Not for a title, though. He's right with not for a title.
Not for the title. Okay, so they may not do he says they may not do the no DQ WWE rules, or have they said it will be no DQ? That's interesting. I had assumed.
They have not said. I think I would assume too, because that's existed pre-WWE.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wrestling. It's not really something special to WWE. So I'm going to assume until I'm told differently that it's going to be no DQ and shenaniganry can commence.
Actually, thinking back and trying to think if WWE picked that up from a territory or if that was like an NWA rule. That's one I've got to go look up, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
To where that rule came from. That is a bit of wrestling trivia right there that I now want to have in my bank.
Same.
So I'm going to go check that one out.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, brother. So speaking of title matches, the Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Shockingly, very little was done for this match. You just had a promo where Moxley and Kingston were burying the Bucks' shoes in some sort of muddy lot and talking about how they were just going to kill him on Sunday. Called him the Flanders Kids.
Oh,
which is pretty funny.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Robin, or what was it? Robin John Flanders, whatever the heck their kid's name.
Ned Flanders.
Ned Flanders' kids.
Yeah.
His kids. I think they're like Job. Something like he named him like Job and Isaiah.
Right.
I don't know.
It's Ezekiel.
Right. That's what my very religious
Jebediah.
Name all his kids like these really religious names.
Rod and Todd. Thank you, Mel.
Rod and Todd.
That was
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Rod and Todd. Yes. Spare the rod.
Did we get any updates from JB on her thoughts on them burying these $10,000 sneakers in mud?
I did not. She did not send me anything, but I did hear like a kind of a muffled pop to the east of me around the time this promo went on. That might have been her head exploding, but I'm not entirely sure. Cannot confirm or deny.
We'll have to get an update for her after the pay-per-view on Sunday.
Yes. They did actually, on Being the Elite, show the box that they came in. Like, you know, we've all been kind of saying, oh, they're fakes. They're knockoffs. They're not the real Dior's.
In fact, in the fashion influencer world, Esther has informed me they're called dupes.
Right. Well, they duped the box then, too, because they had some of their Jordans in there that had the whole like guaranteed genuine tag on them and everything. So, yeah, I mean, maybe they were willing to drop 20 grand on this stunt. I don't know, but you're going to set off fans like JB who are like, "What are you doing? God, no! Why?" Hey, man, wait till I tell her about Jericho's $15,000 jacket.
Oh boy!
But they said a Mox and Kingston promo. That was it. For one of your title matches. Now, granted, like they've done a pretty good job of building this, but
was there anything else to do other than this, though? What did we need to hear from the Bucks?
Not. I mean, I don't know. The Bucks had 2 heel wins in tag matches in 2 weeks, and Moxley and Kingston are kind of sitting back there, being jokers, like, we're going to beat you up, steal your shoes, and smell your socks. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird build, but it's going to be a cool match, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
Do you think that Moxley and Kingston take the belts? I mean,
I think it's possible.
It's possible. It's possible. It's actually
kind of. You know what? I need to employ the Stone Cold coin flip actually for this one.
Uh-oh, get the coin.
So Stone Cold is Bucks. Underneath is Mox and Kingston.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta go Mox.
Oh my goodness.
Mox and Kingston take the titles. Pure coin flip.
All right.
Because I in a way, I feel like it would do some good. The Bucks don't really need the titles. They can always come back around. Yeah. I feel like Moxley and Kingston would it'd be a really good look for them to have those titles on Dynamite and be able to go. We work with other. We know we got Rampage coming. We know we've got Elevation and Dark that are ongoing. They can go over there and work with other up-and-comer tag teams. Like, there's a lot of good that Mox and Kingston could do with the titles.
And I like the fact that in this promo they called out, they made a little bit of fourth wall breaking reference there to saying, oh yeah, Cody and the Bucks went all carny and took all the belts, essentially. Yep. Don't worry, boys in the back. We're going to bring it back to the boys in the back.
Right.
Let's not talk about where Moxley came from. But at any point, the point is here is that Moxley and Kingston would be good tag champs. And I think the Bucks had a good run. It was fine. They don't need those belts to be great top heels.
No.
So
especially not while orbiting Callis and Omega.
Exactly. I like that faction. I like the Elite having a ton of gold. So I'm actually going to take the Bucks.
Okay.
But if Moxley and Kingston win, I'm a coin flip too. I'm just taking the opposite side because you took that.
Yeah, make it interesting. Make it fun.
Yeah, exactly. Got to make it interesting.
Kyle throwing 100 bits said, I know they want to make the Bucks seem as big as Kenny in this story, but Moxley and Eddie just come across so much bigger than the Bucks here. And Eddie, I feel, deserves to be rewarded. Like the contrast in that promo, I felt like the first time Rhea confronted Shayna, they feel like the ones. You aren't getting much better than these two right now, in my opinion. And I'll add on to that. Normally, you guys know I'm against taking two singles and putting them together and making a tag team. However, with the history of Kingston coming out while Moxley was champion, having the battles that they did and the storied history that they have, I'm really digging these two chemistry and dynamic as a team. Do they and because they're established, I don't know. I would like it if they were going to officially form a tag team have music.
It's official.
But it's just Mox and Kingston?
Yeah, they're called Wild Thing, and they come out to Wild Thing.
Okay. I'm fine. See? Check. Satisfied my requirements. You've got history, you've got lore, you've got story, you've got all that stuff that builds up to this, and they battled each other, they went to war with each other, and best friends and brothers, and they come back around, and they're going back for a redemption after he lost the title.
So, according to the laws of Nick, if you would like to form a tag team made up of two singles wrestlers, you must have history, you must have lore, you must have your own tag team name, your own tag team outfits, and, of course, you must have your own entrance song.
Yes, please commit it to Parchment immediately.
Yes, these are the requirements to make Nick happy.
Yes.
All right. Well, you got it. You got it with them for sure.
Yep. I agree with Kyle. I do think it would be a good look for those two to have the titles. Legit. Like I do think it would be better than what the Bucks are not doing with the titles, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other matches that don't involve titles. The big main event of tonight was the Inner Circle getting celebrated, kind of like Shida getting celebrated, only instead it was them coming out and getting a nice little video package of all the cool shit they did, and then cutting some promos. Santana was back. He got a nice, fierce promo saying he was so happy to see the audience again. We had Judas being sung by a full crowd again, which was Chris Jericho could not contain himself. He was so happy, and at the end he goes, "It's so cool to be back in front of a full audience again. I haven't seen this since I was in Sturgis and got a whole bunch of people sick in North Dakota. This is awesome. That's so cool, guys. Let's talk about how great the Inner Circle is. Let's show a video package and show how great we are. Oh, wait. What's going on in the stadium? Oh, my gosh. Is that MJF? Oh, no. He's got the man of 1,000 holds tied to the goalpost. Let's go save Dean Malenko." So they all run to the stadium. Chris Jericho and Hager, of course,
somewhere in the distance, Admiral Akbar's going, behind. It's a trap.
Yeah, right, exactly. They knew that. The Pinnacle's very smart because they knew the Inner Circle was going to get separated. They make him run from the stage to the stadium. You're going to have three guys pulling ahead. That's Santana, Ortiz, and Sammy Guevara. and you're going to have Jericho, who's probably, halfway into a bottle of vodka, and you're going to have Hager, who's, 400 pounds. They're going to be huffing and puffing in the back, and that's exactly what happened. Now, luckily, they did all end up on the football field in time to get beat up by Pinnacle and simultaneously pile-driven onto a bunch of chairs, and Santana Ortiz got taken through 2 tables.
Oof.
Lord. Beaten up, and then MJF and the Pinnacle stands tall to end the show, which you need to do to drive home the Pinnacle as a force to be reckoned with after all of the fellatio that they gave to Inner Circle here. So this is interesting, though. They did a lot of work to make us nostalgic for Inner Circle. Was that done to make us root for them more on Sunday? Or are they really going to have the Pinnacle break up Inner Circle on Sunday? What do you think?
I think it's time.
Oh, really?
I think it's time. I think it's time for LAX to be a tag team again and compete for the championships. I think it's time for Hager to go get in some hoss fights with Miro for the TNT championship. I think it's time for even Guevara, if you wanted to send Guevara up there. Like, it's time for these guys to do other stuff.
Yeah, he was getting cheered solo too. He came out in a lot of Sammy chants.
Well, okay, it's a good time to bring this up. One of those moments that I got a little bit of feels.
Yeah.
Another man with a lisp cutting a Hard Times promo. As short and brief as it was, I got a little bit of a little bit of a squirrely ooh when that happened.
I usually cringe at Hager's promos, but having him go, "I'm talking about Hard Times," and I was like, ooh. It's pretty spot on.
Nice, Jake.
Not bad.
Nice.
Not bad.
I see you, Jake.
Not bad. I see you, Jake. I see what you're going for.
Yep.
All right. Sammy saying that, we've all changed. I came out here in a panda suit, and he's like kind of mocking it, and I'm like, at least you own it, Sammy.
Yeah.
At least you owned it.
I appreciate self-deprecation. I really do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Learn from your mistakes. Nice to see Santana back and him cutting a good promo too. So it was a fun segment. It did feel a little bit. They've done this a lot lately, Nick. A lot of this promoing kind of stuff. It was not a whole lot of new stuff, but the audience, I think, made the difference. And then, of course, just the big go home with the Pinnacle standing tall. So you're taking Pinnacle.
Totally.
I'll take Inner Circle just because I don't think Jericho's missing out on having this faction be face with fans. I don't see it happening. He ain't breaking this shit up while there's fans. Maybe later, but not now. This is he's just doing that to create stakes.
That's a tough position to be in because there is a stake there that they have to break. They have to go away. They have to break up if they win. So that's a tough spot. It kind of leads me a little bit to want Inner Circle. God damn it! I might have to come back to that one.
Stick with it, buddy. Come on.
I'm not locking that one in yet.
All right.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to.
We can lock in this.
I'm not ready to final answer it.
The most hot garbage segment I've seen AEW have in a long time. Cody having a weigh-in against Anthony Ogogo with Paul White, formerly Big Show, being the guy, I guess the MC or the official weigher-inner, which may have not been the best decision, all things considered after the fact. He called everybody out, told him Anthony Ogogo came out first. Big Show did his best to not put him over, kind of crapped on him. As they're coming to the ring, QT Marshall was trying to run his mouth. Big Show gets back on the mic. I keep calling him Big Show. Paul White gets back on the mic, starts running down QT, then runs down to Gogo. Gogo gets in the ring, and he says, "Don't you look at me, boy. I'll drop you where you stand." And Gogo just kind of no-sells it. I'm like, dude, you're not here to run down the competitors, make yourself look like a badass, dude. You're here to defer to them, make them look awesome. That's not doing it.
No.
And then he makes another joke. He says, "Oh, wow, look, you brought all of the factory with you. You brought 5 guys with you. What, are you afraid of being alone? Afraid of what's going to happen if you're alone?" And I kind of went,
have you ever seen a boxing weigh-in? There's like 300 dudes on stage.
Well, this was the irony, was that immediately
go watch a UFC fight, dude.
But immediately after this, he, like, not 30 seconds after Paul White says, "What, are you afraid of coming out here alone? Okay, next, a guy I've known a long time. He's really awesome. He's really pretty, and sometimes I snuggle him late at night. Cody Rhodes, the American Dream." And out comes Cody with a posse of like 20 people. Like everyone who's ever trained at the Nightmare Factory, anyone who's ever stayed the night in Cody's house. Red Velvet and Elena, what is it? Elena Black, or who's his Not Elena Black. Who's his protege? His female protege was right at the front.
I'm not. You're talking about the blonde lady, right?
No, black-haired lady. Not Elena Black. It's
I don't know.
Havoc. It's Taylor Havoc.
Not
like
Jessica Havoc.
It's no, it's not. No, it's Taylor. It's Taylor something Havoc.
Okay.
She was right there. Dustin Rhodes was there. Everyone and their mother was there with Cody. I'm like, what now, Big Show? Is Cody scared?
I was looking for Marty. I didn't see him because he's part of the Nightmare Factory.
He is.
I figured he brought in a lot of the trainees in that posse.
But ever since fooling around with the 16-year-old in the closet, he's kind of been laying low.
Okay.
So out comes Cody. They both weigh in. Big Show cannot get the damn scale to do anything right. Takes him forever to get the numbers. He finally gets 218 for Cody, 219 for a go-go. QT tries to make a big deal out of it, like, my guy weighs a pound more. He's more awesome. And eventually, like, Dustin tries to jump them. All of the factory jumps out of the ring and kind of scuttles away while all of Cody's people sing nah, hey, goodbye. So Ogogo and his entire while he gets up there and poses at one point, and Cody they do like a pose off. It was awkward. It felt directionless. It felt pointless. It didn't have any drama. It didn't have any build. It didn't make Ogogo look. It made him look horrible.
Yeah.
It made it it did not give him any sort of legitimacy or credibility, which would have been the whole point of this, because the whole point is that we're supposed to worry about our American savior Cody, who's here literally defending the American dream. He's literally defending America and every inch of this soil from this evil British bastard.
Can I Nick Book for a second?
Nick Book away before I explode.
Should have brought Tony Khan out to officiate this the same way Dana White does for weigh-ins in UFC. Had him in the middle, had him on the mic, not Paul White. You could have had an actual athletic trainer that knows how to work a legit, an analog scale to do that. But this should have closed the show, and it should have ended up nose to nose with the two of them, and it descends into a pull apart brawl as JR and Tony are yelling, "We're out of time, folks. We'll see you Sunday." As chaos
have a go-go
ensues.
Drop Justin. Have him break Dustin's rib.
Yep.
With a punch.
One of those
then
punches.
Back out,
yep.
Run out of the ring and have him screaming outside the ring at Cody while Cody's like, "You son of a bitch! You hurt my brother." Final shot.
Put some
is you
heat
hurt my
on
brother.
this.
Jesus, thank you. This was throwing cold water on a feud I thought was going somewhere, and it was already kind of questionable because of the whole nationalism thing. But now it's a turkey that's been left out for 2 days before Thanksgiving. It's soggy and
it's
wet.
the turkey
and smells
that's in Christmas Vacation. When they cut into it, it just rips open and it has all the.
It's the turkey from Eli Roth's Thanksgiving trailer.
Right. Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Well, there's no Thanksgiving. There was a Thanksgiving trailer. Thanksgiving is another movie with an actual evil turkey.
Yes.
It's not that turkey. That turkey is actually kind of funny.
Yeah. Calthrin 100 bits said, "I don't know which of Santana and Ortiz went through the right table, but he landed on his neck on that table spot. Ouch." While they were trying to make Inner Circle nostalgia, the booking for them has been a boulder rolling down a snowy mountain ever since Jericho lost the title. It's time to end it. Hot take by Kyle.
Hot take. I wouldn't be mad at it either. Like I said, I'm just going with my instinct that Jericho's ego will not let it break up just yet. I look forward to being wrong.
I'm not ready to commit to Inner Circle sticking around. I kind of like the idea of them splitting off even more and going their separate ways. Maybe to reconvene later down the road or something, but Pinnacle needs this. They need the push.
Agreed.
Cal threw another 100 bits in. Part of me is the darkest recesses of my soul wants to see Cody win Sunday just to see social media burn in effigy over Cody winning after that promo.
You mean Cody burn effigy on social media?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that he will, because this is such a self-aggrandizing egomaniac booking if he just goes and beats a guy who he trained at his play. He trains up a guy and then builds him up and then makes him look like a fool on the go home and then beats him at the pay-per-view. There's no excuse for that.
Yeah.
There's no way around that being shit booking.
Yep.
And, there's no one booker in AEW. Everyone does their own thing. It all goes through Tony Khan. There is a group of people that all kind of filters through.
Sure.
But everyone brings their own ideas. This is Cody saying, this is what Cody wants to do. Cody's going to do what Cody wants to do. If this is his way of booking himself, if he wins on Sunday, I think a lot of the criticisms people have of his way of booking himself will stick.
I don't think he's winning.
A lot of that negativity that's starting to build towards him will start to coalesce.
Yeah.
If he wins on Sunday. So you think he's not winning on Sunday?
I think he's not winning because Brandy's about to pop.
You think it's that's an interesting take.
Yep.
Very interesting. He does like to go away for a little bit.
Yep.
And come back with black hair.
Yep. And weird neck tattoos.
Oh, God.
What's going to be on the other side of his neck when he comes back this time?
Right? The neck tattoos for going in Raw are in the mail. They're coming. They're coming, boys.
Oh.
They're coming. So, yeah, I really hope Anthony Ogogo wins.
Yeah.
I hope he breaks Cody's ribs in this match, in kayfabe, not in reality. But I really hope he wins this because of the story, because of what we've just said. I don't think he's going to. I think Cody wins this.
No.
Yep. He's calling himself the American. I mean, unless he's trying to get nuclear heat on Ogogo, which he should want to. Create a new super heel. Right? I want Ogogo to win, but I really, you know what? I'm going to call back to this. I'm actually going to make a note. I'm going to make a note about this.
Okay.
It's my WWE pessimism. I'm feeling about that. This feels like one of those things where they take the easy route out, and I'm worried that's what it's going to be. I will be so ecstatic if Ogogo wins, because that's the right decision.
But you're
if
putting your point on Cody.
But I'm putting my point on Cody.
Damn.
Yep.
There we go.
It's late. I'm having whiskey. I'm salty. Next up, Hangman Page has a match with Brian Cage. On this show, he had a rematch of the original original All-In match, the Chicago Street Fight with Joey Janela. They had a nice little match here at the end. Hangman even got busted open hard way on the forehead and had a nice little blood spot going on.
Yeah. Borderline Crimson Mask on this one. He had
nice,
he had,
streaks.
He had the whole streaks going down his face.
Yeah, looked good. Looked good. Beats Joey Janela after a very nice little match. The crowd loved it. And Taz immediately started calling him out on commentary. Taz was over on commentary. He comes, hey, Paige, look up here. And Paige gets a mic and goes, I know what you're doing. I'm going to turn around and Brian Cage will be there. And I'm going to turn around again. It's going to be Hook. And someone's going to blindside me. Maybe it's going to be Ricky Starks. And sure enough, he catches them all coming for him from behind him. He's, look, I know how this works. But Cage, I thought you were better. I thought you were kind of man who liked one-on-one. I thought you were the kind of man.
Too.
Right up in his face. That is some babyface shit right there, Nick. That is some awesome babyface shit. That's not just cowboy shit. That's babyface shit. That was covered in blood. Not covered, but he had some good blood going.
Yeah.
Gets him in Cage's face, and he says, aren't you the kind of dude that would rather take me on one-on-one? And Cage gets fired up. He goes, yeah, I am. Who better than Cage? Let's do this. I'm awesome.
In.
Awesome.
I'm in.
Fantastic. And I love that he called out, like, this is what Team Taz, this is what they do. He knew. A smart baby. It's a baby face who's not an idiot, but who still is like, he is confident in his own abilities. And he's standing in front of a dude who's obviously just a tank. Absolutely beautiful.
Magnificent.
Loved this. Poor Joe Janela drops another one. He came out, it was interesting. He came out with Sonny Kiss again. I thought that he walked out on Sonny over on Dark this week, but man, maybe there's more to that story. Neither here nor there. We're here to talk about Double or Nothing. Who do you have, Adam Page or the Machine, Brian Cage?
This is tough because Cage needs the win, but I think Page is on this trajectory, very, very, very long-term trajectory that ultimately leads him back to Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship.
Sure.
I don't know if a loss to Brian Cage would hinder that or maybe put him on some kind of downtrodden angle where he has to climb again. Cage, if he loses here, what does he do now? He's breaking apart from his faction. He doesn't really have anywhere to go at this point. Miro's busy.
Yeah.
Where does Brian Cage go? But he hasn't really done anything since he's been here.
Well,
frankly.
I wonder if this is kind of like
to finish my point.
Sorry.
I think Brian Cage wins. I'm going to pick Brian Cage.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to take Hangman Page because I think conversely, I think they were even saying on the commentary here where it's like, you can't drop 2 matches to a dude. Right? Cage won the last one. I feel like Page wins the big one. It's in front of a crowd. They're going to have Page go over in front of a crowd. The first crowd back. I wouldn't be surprised if this match opened the whole show. They put on a barn burner and Page wins and pops the crowd and everyone's happy going into the rest of the show.
Yeah, to pull the curtain. Yeah.
Yep.
God, your logic is very sound. And it makes me question my pick.
Sorry.
I'll stick with Cage, though.
Right.
I do think there is also the opportunity here for a fudge finish. Team Taz getting involved.
Absolutely.
Some kind of disqualification or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that are still have it out for Team Taz. There could be something screwy that happens at the end. Also, there's nothing to say that they're part of their angle or their arc for Page isn't losing 2. And he goes on more of a downward spiral before pulling himself back up out of the rut. Like he's got to.
That's kind of what I'm betting on, frankly, because it serves both masters of Page and Cage getting a double win on Hangman Page.
I'm very good at debating anything that I set my mind to, Nick. They've tried this. Remember, they've tried this on us in the mailbag show a couple times where they say, Ian, you debate this, and Nick, you debate this, then switch. I can debate I could give you all the reasons why Cage is going to win this match too.
Yeah.
This is one of those. It's not one where I'm like, no, there's no way that's happening. This is one where it could go either way. Yeah. I just feel like it's more likely Page. It goes to Page.
Yeah. Yep.
Finally, for matches for Sunday, well, at least finally that we saw promoted on the show, we've got the other Page, Ethan Page, teaming up with Scorpio Sky to face off against Darby Allin and Sting. And we had 2 matches. Darby pulled the curtain against Cesar Bononi, which I thought was very nice of them to give Cesar that look because he's had some hard times with his wife and his sister-in-law's cancer and everything. So that was nice. Darby gets the win. Hard fought. Another Darby versus a big guy. It's like his stock and trade at this point, pulling off a hard fought win. And then at the end, Ethan Page and Sky come out to run their mouths on top of the ramp. Darby says, "Come on, let's go now." And they go, "Nah, we don't think so." And then all of the newly waxed and vaxxed wingmen jump them from behind.
That's a T-shirt.
They start the brawl. That's absolutely a T-shirt.
Waxed and vaxxed.
Waxed and vaxxed, ready for the summer, be summer boys.
Yes.
And then Page and Scorpio come down in the middle of all the confusion to lay into Sting and Darby as well. But then they're all chased off by Dark Order. Great way to start the show. The audience was hyped. They're all Dark Order so over right now, not shockingly. And then later on in the show, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky also had a match where they took out Evil Uno and Stu Grayson from the Dark Order. Stu Grayson, someone put some caffeine in his Cheerios this morning because that boy was
Uno's
hyped.
out there doing ranas and shit. Like, we got a Mil Mascaris reference. Like,
that's true. True. That was cool.
Yeah.
Uno was not playing either, but Stu was going over the top rope and doing what was that move that he pulled on Scorpio Sky?
It was like a top rope, or he came over the top and into a cutter onto the apron or something.
Was it a cutter or was it a DDT of sorts?
Something like that. I'd have to go back and watch it. It was so fast, but it was to the outside. It looked like it was kind of some kind of cutter over the ropes, or he was already on the outside or something. I don't remember. It was nuts. This is when I way back. I was really high on Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, and I thought, well, okay, they could be really good tag team champions, especially with all the minions around them with Dark Order. And this, I'm looking at this going, okay, could we have Dark Order, really, Uno and Grayson being legit tag team contenders for the championships? This is the first time I've thought about them in that context
being
for
back
a long time.
Yeah. Because they're damn good. They've always been damn good. It's just that tag division's huge. Yeah. It's easy to forget people. Yeah. Where's Jurassic Express right now?
Where's Private Party?
Right. So there's an injury in Private Party, I believe, and possibly Jurassic Express as well. But I might be wrong.
I thought Luchasaurus got hurt.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
That being said, this was an awesome match. Definitely made the crowd very happy. But until the end, when Ethan Page put a Ego's Edge, what's he call it?
Ego's Edge. It's a Razor's Edge, but Ego's Edge.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah,
yep.
Ego's Edge, while the heel hook was being applied by Scorpio Sky. Yep. So the heels win. They get a nice big gloat moment over the audience before Darby Allin comes out with a whole host of dudes with Sting masks on. So he comes down to the ring with his edgelords, and in they start walking. They all get disposed by Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky one by one until one starts no-selling Scorpio's punches. Just stands there, and then you realize this is the first one that's had a receding hairline, and you go, wait, could it be? And yes, they recreate that moment from TNA where Sting stands up in the audience and takes off a Sting mask, and it's Sting underneath.
Was that not WCW?
It might have been WCW. You're right. It was WCW because it's still Crow Sting. It wasn't red
it was
and black
NWO stuff back then.
Right. Yeah.
So we had the mask pull reference from 97, whenever that was, and then right
That would've been
after
like
this
99.
match.
99, I think.
Yeah, right after this match, Bischoff's in the ring introducing Inner Circle.
Right.
Like, what year is it?
We're on TNT, Nick. Anything's possible. Shivani's commentating, all right? Like, you never know.
Exactly.
But anyway, that was a cute little moment. And Darby and Sting hold the ring, and Ethan and Scorpio make a break out to the audience. So I think that is also a match that has a possibility of being fun on Sunday. But who's winning it?
Darby and Sting.
Okay, I'm taking the opposite. I think Paige and Scorpio need it. Need it.
Wow.
They need it to legitimize themselves. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say they should win. Not just that I think they will win. I think they should.
I think they should win too. I just don't think they're going to pull that trigger yet. Kyle Thrin 100 bits said another sign that we are truly back in the future. Hangman Page drank an audience member's beer again. I didn't catch that.
I mean, alcohol does kill germs.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons
There's
I think I might have never
much of it in
COVID.
that swill Bud Light that comes out of the taps at the arenas.
You would know, pitcher man.
Okay.
So one last match we have on Sunday, the Casino Battle Royale. We saw this promoted very quickly. We had Christian and Powerhouse Hobbs get into a tussle backstage. Pretty nice pull-apart brawl, actually.
Yeah.
Looked vicious. Christian hit him with a stanchion. That's
broke the bottom and all the sand blew out of it. You know?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool spot. But that Casino Battle Royale has these two guys and plenty more. It's Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Penta El Zero Miedo back to pulling the curtain in the pre-show. Jungle Boy, there he is. Matt Hardy, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, there they are. The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, Dustin Rhodes, Lee Johnson, and the Joker. Who knows? TBA. We don't know who that last person's going to be.
There's a little scuttlebutt out there that it could be Daniel Bryan.
I mean, could it be? Yes. Will it be? No. If it is, every roof everywhere will come off.
Yeah.
It's all over. Things will burn if it's Daniel Bryan. Burn.
Do you think that would burn the Bella's relationship with WWE in Vince's eyes if he did something like that? A little bit of a double cross.
No, they make too much damn money. What Lana didn't get burned because of Miro.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like
she's out there beating the tag champs. You know?
It's just business. But if Daniel Bryan does come out, it would panic on the streets of Orlando. I don't know, where are they? Panic on the streets of
Jacksonville,
Miami, whatever. All right, so that's the bottom line is who's winning this, in your opinion?
With Hobbs and Christian being the leading of the promo, it's easy to pick one of those two.
Yes.
I'm going to go Hobbs.
I'm going to go Cage.
I just don't know. I don't think they know what to do with Christian.
I do too, and I think winning this is a good step in the right direction.
To what ultimately? Like, is this a championship opportunity to win?
Facing Miro, maybe.
Okay. That's a good point. Yeah, you could have Christian versus Miro for a TNT champ. Yeah, okay. Yep. I'll go Hobbs. You go Christian.
There you go. Yeah. And it'll probably be someone else because that's just how these things work.
Pillman's been getting a good look recently, and he's kind of a wild card that I've gotten that pops into my head. Who else was in there?
That's a wild card right there.
Yeah, but Fear the Mullet. Who else is in there? Going through my head.
That could win it. Penta could win it, theoretically.
They never really did anything with his gimmick with, what's his name? With the translator manager guy.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden is he heel or face? Now he's back with Phoenix and Death Triangle again.
Is Pac heel or face? We don't even know. It's all a mess.
Yeah.
It's all a mess.
Oh.
Finally, speaking of messes, Jade Cargill had a squash match against Kylan King. Murdered her. She's got a new. Now apparently she's using MJF's old lawyer. Was it John Sterling?
Sterling, yeah.
Yeah. He's now her manager. That's fine. It works. She shouldn't work matches this long. It exposes how little she has in the tank.
Those curls of Kylan King was a nice strength spot.
Yeah, Kylan King is not a small lady.
No, she's a 6-footer. She's and to her credit, Jade even called it out. JR even 5'10", 160. That's beef.
Yep.
For a female wrestler. She's jacked.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like she's been chiseled out of marble.
Yeah. So it's, again, I think they have a star in her. They just have to be careful how they utilize her.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they do it going forward.
Yeah.
But that was AEW for the night. We've given our picks for Double or Nothing this Sunday. It's going to be that's a fantastic card.
Yeah.
A fantastic card.
As it should be. It's kind of shaped up to be their WrestleMania. And I think that's what it will become over the years.
It might.
Yep.
I mean, they treat all their pay-per-views like WrestleMania, which I think they should. They've only got 4.
True. I like that model.
They can make them bigger deals.
Yep.
Because we're paying $50 for them. They need to.
Indeed. Well, there we go, guys. We will see you guys Sunday for.
Kyle
don't
makes
go
a
anywhere.
good point.
What?
Kyle makes a very good point. Joker could be Nick Gage.
That's true.
That's a very solid possibility.
That is very true. I didn't think about that.
Very solid one.
Well, there we go, guys. We'll see you Sunday. Make sure you get into the Discord, !Discord here in the chat. If you want to find the link to it, we'll have a live channel for Double or Nothing. Starts Sunday, 7:30 Eastern for the buy-in. Main show starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you guys in Discord chat for Double or Nothing. But we're not done just yet. We've still got to head over and talk about what went down tonight on Friday Night Smackdown.
So the big news of the night, the Usos are back together despite the best efforts of sourpuss Roman Reigns, who's sitting there going like, "Hey man, Jay, I thought you were my boy.
Are you with me?
Why are you his boy now? I thought you're with me, not him." He's like a jealous prom date. What's going on, Roman? But nevertheless, the Usos pulled the curtain. They had a match against the Street Profits. And barns were burned. This was a pretty awesome match, Nick.
Why this was not the main event, I have no idea.
Well, that was a plot point later in the show because the Usos did ultimately pull out the victory. A little shady with how they did it. A little bit of twin magic. But they did pull off the victory, get the win. Now Jimmy's saying, look, see, we are that good. We can go and win those tag team titles. And in fact, he went and got in Adam Pearce's face and said, hey, man, put us in the title picture. We're back. And Pearce said, you got it. Next week, you guys for the titles.
I didn't realize how much I missed them until they came out and were going toe-to-toe with the Street Profits.
Right. Dude. Street Profits cut a good promo. Then Usos came out and cut a great promo, too. And all of a sudden, I was hyped to see the match. And then they had a great match. And then after, the Usos felt like a big deal.
30 minutes into the show, they're still going.
Yeah. It was great. Awesome. Great way to kick off SmackDown. And then later on, you had Jay come in and Roman be like, so, you're going to have a title match with her next week, huh? All right. I see. What about me? What about my needs? I thought it was you and me. He's acting like a jealous so-and-so. Unbelievable.
What was that shirt Moxley was wearing on Dynamite? Bitch AF?
Bitch AF. Yeah. I think he's sending that to Roman right now. Yeah. Bitch AF, Tribal Chief.
Yep.
Bitch AF. But that being said, Roman did make a good point. He said, if you stick with me, you were main event Jey Uso. You were closing the show most of the time for the last 6 months. You're with him, you're pulling the curtain.
Which one are you again?
Right. And you want to go back to people not knowing which one is which? People know who you are now. And Jay went, that's a very good point. Roman says, don't tell me, tell him.
Yeah.
So at the end of the show, the main event was the Dirty Dogs getting a rematch against Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, who beat them for the titles last week. Nick, rematches. Gotta love rematches, especially when they invert the same exact match, because last time they hurt they hurt Dominic before the match, threw a couch on him for the match at WrestleMania Backlash.
That was Dominic.
That's what I said. They threw the couch on Dominic.
Yeah.
Right. And then Rey had to fight solo for most of the match, and then Dominic limps out, and they end up winning the match. Well, this time they beat up Rey. Rey's backstage praying before his match, and Dominic says it's time, and Rey goes, cool, let me just pray a little bit more. We come back from commercial, And Ray, where is your God now? Because you're all beat up and taken out, and the Dirty Dogs have no love for that kind of prey. We got to pray just to make it today, but it didn't work.
Was that MC Hammer?
That was MC Hammer.
Wow.
Yeah. Oakland, baby. Oakland. So Dominic's got to go out and fight solo. It's an inversion of what it was at the pay-per-view.
I don't know if I'm more impressed that you pulled that out or that I knew what you were referring to.
Yeah. Come on, man. I used to watch MC Hammer's cartoon. You know I know. So Dominic's at the main event. Dominic ultimately, as a heroic babyface thing, he finally starts to fall apart. Ray comes out. The Dirty Dogs get distracted and get rolled up for the 1-2-3. Rude eating the pin again. Eye roll. But then, Nick, you must have been excited because out
The
came
prophecy.
Usos. Out came Nick's prophecy. Usos came out to say, we got you next week. That's how we went home.
Yeah.
With Jay kind of looking a little bit like, yeah, I guess we got you. And Jimmy being like, I'm hyped. Yeah. It's Nick. 3 weeks after you said it was coming. Usos versus Mysterios for the tag team titles. It's happening next week.
Now, I do think they might actually lose just so that Roman can go, I told you so. This is what happens when you split up the family. Now join me, acknowledge me, and I will be ringside to support you. And then that's how they ultimately take them back at SummerSlam. There's the next phase of the prophecy, is this ultimately leads to more stuff.
I would be more shocked because I would be shocked the Mysterios would lose him that quickly.
That too.
You know what I mean? Because I think there's tons of story to be had either way, if they win them or if they lose them. If they win them, then Jay can start to wonder, like, well, I mean, but I'm a champion, and Roman just, keeps grinding on him, like, yeah, you're a champion, not the champion. Are you main eventing? No, you're in the tag division. I love that Roman crapped on him pulling the curtain when we always say, pulling the curtain is one of the greatest places to be as a second only to main event because you're the first thing anyone sees. You're there to hype up the show. It means you're a good match. But Roman crapping on it was hilarious because I was sitting there going like, oh, see, y'all are now saying it's a shitty spot too. So if Roman's now turning around and saying, oh, you're in the tag division. That's WWE, son. This isn't AEW. You're in the tag division. Let's come on now.
The other part of this that I actually thought they might pull the trigger on having the Street Profits win over the Usos to start this out, to kind of kickstart that story with Roman a little bit more, give it a little juice, to beef that up, to ultimately have the Usos come around, have Jimmy finally acknowledge him, and have all three of them out there as a unit to take the titles down the road. Not how it went, though. Usos got the victory, and I was a little bit kind of weird on that. Secondly, I also thought with the Ray get injured thing in the back, Dominic comes out, full of piss and vinegar, goes out against both of those guys. Those aren't small guys. That's Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. They're big boys. But I thought it was a moment that he could just absolutely go really big, beat both of those guys. But no, they sold it like he barely made it, and it took Ray coming hobbling out to distract for him to roll up Robert Roode. And I look at that and I go, that's a missed opportunity. Yet an opportunity there to take one of these new young up-and-comers and really just give them a ton of heat behind him. Just have him just go out there and go absolutely. But we've seen Dominic as a hot tag coming in, having some really big spots where he's flying all over the place. He can do it. Yeah. But if you book him like this, where he's barely getting by and can only squeeze it out when Ray comes out to distract, I feel like that's a missed opportunity for Dominic.
I don't know, because I feel like he makes a great babyface in peril because he doesn't look like a grown man. He looks like a teenager.
Yeah,
but he's also a teenager that can wrestle, and he's smooth as hell.
Yeah.
He's a very talented guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing how crowds take to Dominic. I really am.
Yeah.
That's going to tell a lot. How does he read to a live audience?
We're not really going to know until he ultimately turns on Ray and says that he's not his real dad, and we go down that road.
Let it go, dude. Let it go.
It's coming. You guys
know
it's coming.
The crowds come back. Every time Dominic comes out, the crowds are sitting there going, Eddie's kid.
Exactly.
Eddie's kid. Yeah.
Kyle Thread 100 bits said, I honestly have to admire how well Roman has adopted so many of the ways someone mentally abuses a loved one. Yeah, it's full-on gaslighting. That level of detail in tonight's show with Jay is really scary. That man must have studied some psych and sociology books for some of the stuff he's pulling to manipulate Jay in storyline. It's really good. It's
a multiple person effort. I know that Paul's helping write, and there's a bunch of people helping write Romans and all their stuff. But it's breathtaking, the subtlety of the psychology that's being used there. It's not ham-handed. It really is some of the most subtle storytelling in like it's up for, in my opinion, it's up there with the Hangman Page stuff for long-term subtle storytelling. I'm being serious. Like I'm
laughing at Kyle, not you.
That's where I'm. that's where I'm at with it. Where I'm so impressed by what they're doing week to week with just the dynamic between those three.
Totally,
it's awesome.
Yep.
So, I'm not so impressed with the rest of the show. Bianca Belair had a match with Carmella of all people, who said, "That's right, I'm a former champ. All blah 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 blah. I should get a shot." She goes out there, straight up loses to Bianca, who just beats her down, even with Bayley on commentary trying to distract her. Bayley was a riot on commentary, by the way. The best thing Bayley's done in months was have her on commentary.
The Bayley versus Michael Cole feud on SmackDown might be the best thing going.
The best thing going is when Michael Cole messes up Bianca Belair's name at the end and tries to call her Blianca. Belanca. And Bayley goes, "It's Bianca, you stupid idiot," and gets up on the desk and starts mocking them. Michael Cole, the look on his face, it was like it was raining in Baltimore. He was just like, that was not
Vince
entirely.
Is in his ear going, "What did you just say?"
Yeah. Well, they're probably also like, "That's great stuff for Bayley," but it's still, she completely called him out on it. That's got to burn. That's got to burn. I love the dynamic between her and Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Pat's kind of like, "I don't really know you, but I like you."
Yeah.
Because I'm the heel commentator. Like, you're a legend to me.
Pat standing up the whole show. Pat. Michael Cole just face palming the whole time. It's magic. I never would have expected that. I never would have expected this dynamic to be as good as it is. But it's fan-freaking-tastic.
Notoriously yelled at Pat McAfee because at WrestleMania 34.
Oh, where he wore the jorts.
34. He was wearing jorts. And apparently, like, Cole was like, "That's completely inappropriate to wear that. Like, how dare you?" He was so mad at him about it. And I guess he was worried about getting flack from higher up, so he threw a fit. So having Cole at the beginning of the show call out McAfee for wearing a print shirt, like a crazy print shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And McAfee's like, "You're just mad at how cool this shirt is." Because here's the thing. Pat McAfee has FU money. He does not need this job.
No.
He's doing this job because he loves it. You don't like him standing up? You don't like his shirts? You don't need him. He doesn't need it. He can walk out the door. But the fans love him, and he's really good. So you know what, Michael Cole? He's going to wear the shirt. I love that.
Yep.
I love that. In a couple of weeks where we're just having an absolute massacre of commentary staff, it's very refreshing to see a guy who just does not give an actual F about what anyone thinks of him.
Love it.
So it's actually endearing Pat to me even more.
Story of the show for me, frankly, is Pat McAfee the last few weeks.
Agreed. Certainly not Kevin Owens getting a shot against Apollo Crews with, of course, who was ringside, Nick?
Commander Aziz!
That is correct. He was ringside, and he was the decisive factor in this match because it was a good old WWE, if you beat the champ, you get a shot at the belt kind of booking.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens gave him a stunner, gave Apollo a stunner, looked like he was going to win. From outside the ring, like a giant octopus tentacle, in comes Commander Aziz's arm to give him the Nigerian nail right in the neck. Kevin Owens starts coughing, can't breathe. DQ finished. Apollo and Aziz scuttle off the back, and while he's trying to breathe in the back, Kevin Owens gets out, "I want a match with Apollo for the belt next week." And Pierce says, yeah, absolutely, you got it. So that's some great logic right there, Nick. Let's give the guy a match. Let's cause a DQ that makes him win the match anyway. Okay.
So that he gets to pick a stipulation what the championship match will be.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fine.
Yep.
Whatever. It was quick. It was short. At least it was short. It was over quickly. What was not over quickly was Seth Rollins' monologue about Cesaro. He comes out dripping again in some wild and wacky outfit to say
we were ripping in Discord that it was curtains from the Flamingo in Vegas. What it looked like.
Yes, but it was the curtains from the Flamingo in Vegas, like during the tripping on ether scene in
Fear and Loathing.
Fear and Loathing. Yeah, those curtains. So he comes out to challenge Cesaro. Cesaro, of course, not there because he's still in the hospital because Seth took him out last week. And so Seth then jokingly played a audio clip from the hospital, which was essentially the beep, beep, beep sound, and then someone going, "Ugh," and Seth cracked up about it, and it was cute and dumb. And this went on forever. And then Seth very quietly and lengthily accused all of the audience of being complicit in Cesaro's injury. The real reason Cesaro's injured is because of himself and because of you at home. And this just took so long and was so boring. And dear God, Seth, get a crowd back to just go silent when you do this shit, because this is the kind of, like, Seth has been loquacious and long-winded for much of his career. They had him opening Raw and doing half-an-hour segments a lot when he was like the champ after he had the great steal, right?
With the authority angle too, when he was Money in the Bank holder, yeah.
Fine. We had the whole Damon Kang. We had all of that from Seth.
Yeah.
This is, and he's a good promo, right? He's a good promo. He's good on the mic. He's comfortable on the mic. He can talk forever. This shit is awful. This shit is go away to me.
I didn't hate this.
I hated it. There's
no purpose, right? There's no, like, when he came out and he had Murphy as a disciple and there was a story there with the Mysterios, as awful as it was, there was a story there at some point.
The purpose behind this is to get more heat on Seth. Accuse the audience of injuring Cesaro, mock Cesaro, and say that the audience is responsible for Cesaro's injury. That's the whole point of this, right? The whole summary of this entire promo was, Cesaro is stupid. Let me mock Cesaro, and then it's the audience's fault he's hurt. So let me get heat from the audience, the non-existent audience. It's the audience at home.
Is this setting up for Aleister Black?
No, apparently we're getting Black versus Big E, which neither of whom were on the show this week. So, sad. But not as sad as Rick Boogs missing a bunch of notes playing Nakamura in and out of the ring.
That's kind of endearing. I dig it.
It was cute. I still love the idea. Rick Boogs with this big old bunch of Marshall stacks.
Also with the 1993 overall style with the one undone. I was like, yeah, okay.
He's got all the moves. He's got the jump splits. He's got the
open boots, unlaced boots. I dig it.
The dude can do the high pitched screams, right?
Yep.
I'm not going to imitate it because I want our listeners to continue to listen to the show
exactly.
and not have to tear off their headphones. But this time Nakamura was facing up with Chad Gable, and he got beat up a little bit by Otis before the match, but ultimately came back, Kinshasa, 1, 2, 3, but then realized his crown had gone missing because Baron Corbin had snatched it back. I'm the king, Baron Corbin cries from the ramp, and then gets hit in the back by Boogs, gets the crown back for Nakamura, and then Nakamura gets played off the stage with Boogs missing a bunch of notes on the way. Cute, it's fun. It's not going to really land again until there's a crowd.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're setting up a lot of stuff for a crowd like this.
Yeah. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said Michael Cole on the line with Vince after the botch, like, please don't fire me and have Nick Khan replace me like Tom.
Right.
It's a bit of a pattern recently, he says. I haven't really noticed it being a pattern, but I have noticed that Pat makes Michael Cole nervous.
He makes him better.
Yeah.
Making Michael Cole nervous is a good thing.
Yeah, but it's
shake him out of his. Michael
we
Cole
enjoy
turns
it
into
as
a robot.
fans, but it takes his precision away.
I don't mind his precision going away as long as he's not being robotic Michael Cole. It's really easy for Michael Cole to go into his I am a WWE announcer. There is a way to say this. There is a way to call that. Right? You even had Seth tonight call it Cesaro's in the hospital, not a local medical facility. Like, there was stuff that slipped through tonight. I'm fine with Michael Cole letting stuff slip. If Pat shakes him out of that, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mel D, all the way from Australia, in the chat, threw in 100 bits, said, I could be reaching here, but do you think Pat McAfee had a slip of the tongue when he said, Boogs is here, baby?
You think he was like referencing the Adam Cole feud that he had? Maybe it may have been an inside joke. I'm not going to say it's not.
Yeah, I don't know one way or the other.
I don't know what the connection between Boogs and Adam Cole would be, or if it was just, McAfee threw a little shout out to Adam or something. But
that's interesting.
If Adam Cole gets called up within the next 2 weeks and starts a feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, we'll know.
I like Mel booking. That's good.
I'm not mad at that.
Thank you, Mel.
Shinsuke versus Adam Cole. Yes, please.
Yeah.
That can go right in both of my eye holes. Thank you very much.
That's an NXT title match we never got that I would love to see.
Yep. But a match that I kind of wanted to see and I got a little bit of, but it was over too quickly. Riot Squad versus Natty and Tamina. The best thing about this, Nick, was Tamina, I thought, looked like a they're continuing to make her look like a badass, and she's able to do it.
She still hadn't really nailed the Superfly Splash yet.
The Superfly Splash is still not great,
No.
but at least she looked badass coming up to this.
Yeah.
And the Riot Squad looked like they were at least somewhat capable. They isolated Natty outside. Liv got a good code breaker on her, so it was a fun little match. Unfortunately, it was a little match. It was not that long.
No.
But that was SmackDown. It had some very good stuff on it. It had some stuff that you could have missed. But ultimately, we're kind of in the early days of builds for Hell in a Cell. Really no idea what's going to be in a cell. Nothing is feeling like it's worthy of a cell right now.
No.
And that, Nick, is very, very worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, we got a little less. We got 3 weeks. They've been able to pull it out, but I don't know that they're going to pull anything out at this point that's going to... I mean, you could frankly make KO go through Commander Aziz in order to get to the championship. That could be Kevin Owens versus Commander Aziz in a cell. Okay, you've got my attention there. Like, there's some things we could fantasy book into existence, but it ain't going to happen. I don't know what they're going to do with Roman at Hell in a Cell. Like, are they going to have him in a cell match? Probably not. Who's his contender
Against
now?
who? Yeah.
Unless Brock comes back for some reason, who's gonna go after him?
Seth and Cesaro is, I think, one of the few matches where I feel it's not only vicious enough, but also the people involved are a big enough stature where it could be in a cage, in a cell, right? We're not going to see Cedric versus Shelton in a cage, although we should.
Drew Lashley, I guess you could probably put in a cell if you wanted to.
Why? They're going to do it just because it's Hell in a Cell, and now it's just kind of you're in a cell at Hell in a Cell. It's like the Elimination
Rhea
Chamber.
And Charlotte,
right?
Kyle called out in the chat. They don't need cells.
No, that's the problem. Is the cell has become like the Elimination Chamber. It's a prop.
It's a trope at this point,
Right. It's not the scary once in a very short while. Once in a very long while.
Once you go in, you'll never come out the same, whatever that is.
Yeah, and they still build it the same way, and you're like, really? Because it happens every year.
Yeah.
How bad could it be? But that was SmackDown, Nick, which leaves us only one more show to talk about. We're going all the way back to Tuesday. We're going to run it down. What happened on NXT?
Well, we've been waiting for this moment since TakeOver, and it's been building up to this for weeks. Finn Balor finally got his rematch against NXT champion Karrion Kross.
Mother of God, the video package for this.
Video packages for this for the last couple of 3 weeks. They've been putting together packages for this. They've had analysts sit down. Jimmy, what's his name? Just everybody, they're just lining them up and talking about the Balor and Kross dynamic and just setting all this up like it is this is Ali Frazier.
Paul Heyman,
is the way
Triple
that they're
H,
setting it up, right?
Jimmy Eat World. Yeah, absolutely. They've had them all. And it's made it feel epic. And not like it wasn't anyway, but then they delivered on the hype. That's the crazy thing is when you hype a match up this much, it has the possibility of being a bit of a letdown. And it was not. This match was hot fire. It was bad ass.
Is it any doubt that it's a match of the week?
No, there's nothing even close.
No.
I mean, the tag match on SmackDown was fantastic. AEW had some matches that were fine, but nothing that was in this league.
No.
Nothing. Not even close.
Why this wasn't on a pay-per-view, I don't know.
They did, yeah. They gave us a pay-per-view quality match midweek, straight up. And it was just another story of Finn is a badass, Kross is a badass, Kross is just a big badass, and Finn is a little badass, and so their styles are going to clash. Finn's got to take some big hits and get back up, and Cross is going to get worn down. Finn's a precision guy. He's going to go for his midsection and try to take his breath away. Going to chop him down at the legs and that sort of thing. And then it ultimately came down to Cross just, ended up taking some of Finn's biggest shots. Finn missed at the wrong moment. Cross was able to, they got me, Nick. At one point, they got me right at the end where I thought Finn was going to win. I was like, that's possible. Like, well, maybe they might put it on Finn here because the way they kept having comebacks that seemed to break what you assume the flow of a wrestling match is going to be. And ultimately to have Cross essentially like barely dodge a coup de grace and then Finn try to I'm trying to remember exactly how it went, but it was like Finn maneuvered out of one of Cross's moves and Cross just happened to counter super quickly into a guillotine and put him out into a headlock. And it was very quick. It was like, elbow to the back of the head, into the lock, and Finn just passed out. But it was so fast and so brilliant. Match of the week without a doubt.
Yeah. Is there anything else we're talking about on NXT, or was that it?
I mean,
Anna was there, by the way. Our phenomenal one.
What?
Anna was there. Got to get in.
Fantastic.
So
that's awesome. I bet it was an awesome one to see live.
Yeah, it was posting pics in Discord, all kinds of good stuff. So if you guys aren't in Discord, come hang out with us.
So, I mean, the only question here is aftermath, right? What happens to Finn now? Does he go face Walter? Does he go to the main roster? Or does he just take a break on NXT for a while and then try to fit into an absolutely stacked card? We know next week, Johnny Gargano versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne for the number one contendership, whoever's going to face Karrion Kross at the next TakeOver. So we know that's happening. But what happens to Finn? That's the big question.
I think we all kind of speculate about Walter and the NXT UK Championship. If he goes over there to goose NXT UK a little bit. Not that it necessarily needs it, but, you would certainly get some more American eyes, more Western eyes on NXT UK if Finn Balor shows up. And
it's time to take the belt off of Walter. I mean, you had Walter this week talking to Imperium via Skype or whatever it was in a dark room, saying, we should be tag champions. Go out, take out Fandango, and then, go up the ranks.
Yeah.
So, Walter does have a presence on NXT. So it would be maybe Walter comes over to have a feud with Finn.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be mad at that either.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said it's not pay-per-view because NXT is burning through the original TakeOver plans to try and survive the NBA postseason. That's a good point. Because they're barely scraping by with Wednesday Night War numbers, overloading the last few NXTs. It's interesting. I think between the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, it's the spring. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's that time of year. Everybody's getting outside again. They're not sitting inside during a lockdown in a pandemic. Like, we're getting to go outside. Some states without masks. Like, I don't discredit people for not wanting to sit in their house and watch wrestling 5 days a week anymore. Like, we've been locked down for more than a year at this point. So yeah, we can catch it on the flip. But maybe it's to draw eyes. That's the only thing I can think of why they would put this match not on a pay-per-view. Like, you couldn't have saved. They've got another In Your House event coming up. In June.
We just had Finn versus Cross in the last pay-per-view. You can't do it again. You know what I mean? At the next pay-per-view, have something fresh.
You absolutely can. How many times do we have Gargano and Ciampa in a row?
Yeah.
How many times do we have Cole fighting Gargano and or Ciampa?
Like this, but this was the same thing as last time. I'm going to take you to deep water, and then no, you're not. I'm going to kill you, and it's the same thing. It was the same thing. Just do it again.
Yeah.
Right. There was no evolution of the story, whereas Gargano and Ciampa evolved.
Oh yeah, they had the whole DIY backstory and everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Kyle. Mel D threw in another 100 bits. Thank you. Can we fantasy book into existence for the love of God? Karrion Kross versus Aleister Black. Put that in my eye holes, please.
Oh, Mel. Oh, talk dirty to me. My goodness. Oh.
Exactly. There you go.
Please. Yes. Aleister Black versus Karrion Kross. 100% in both of my eye holes, my ear holes, my nose holes, all the holes. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Hello.
Is it Friday already? It actually is.
Not for much longer.
Yeah.
For me, it's already Saturday for you, which means we got to talk about Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai facing off with Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon to get a number one contendership against the Way, because there are only 3 women's tag teams. It was a fun match. It was a fun match. Raquel was an absolute powerhouse. Dakota Kai ate the pin because, of course, she did. And Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart go on to face the Way, but they did get the crap kicked out of them after the match. So it makes you wonder if they really are done with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, especially because I feel like once again Dakota is being made to be sort of she's
fifth wheel.
The fifth wheel. I mean, she's the one who's always eating she's gonna always eat the pin.
I think I said it last week. She's holding Raquel back.
And in some ways, Raquel's holding her back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She can't go out there and win a match because she's got to eat the pin for Raquel.
There you go.
You know,
that's just how many women do we have in the women's division of NXT? She could totally go find another tag team partner and go have tag team matches.
Or be in a singles feud, for God's sake. We've got new talent. Frankie Monet debuted for the third time, but this time actually in ring. Had a squash over Cora Jade. Honestly, and looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
Looked like an absolute goddamn superstar. That's all I have to say about it. Like Taya Valkyrie has finally shown up at NXT. She showed everything that she can do. That's the thing. She didn't show everything she can do, but she definitely did show for anyone who was like, who the hell is this chick? Oh, she's a goddamn superstar, and she's got a moveset in the ring that is a mix of power, speed, athleticism.
High flyer. She's got all kinds of stuff. Crazy
moveset. And when you first look at her, you don't think she can do this stuff, but then she's all of a sudden doing crazy shit.
She's married to John Morrison. For those that don't know,
right?
Probably one of the most athletic men in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And just like there's all kinds of stuff that
he's,
those two.
He's somewhere being scared because Miz is apparently coming back on Monday Night Raw this week, and people are going to get bit. I wish that were the case. He's interviewing. Who's he interviewing? I saw like a quick
Charlotte and Rhea.
Is he? There you go. Yeah. Zombie Miz interviewing Charlotte and Rhea.
Yep.
Unless we're going to break kayfabe. You think we're going to break kayfabe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Miz ain't coming out. Miz ain't going to be Zombie Miz. No. If he's Zombie Miz, Nick, I will lose my shit. I'll be so happy. Oh my God. I'll be about as happy as I was.
WWE.
I'll be about as happy as I was when I saw Cameron Grimes come out for his face-off with Ted DiBiase. This was, on one hand, I loved this. On the other hand, it was really awkward and kind of sad.
Oh.
Because Cameron Grimes was kind of like, he was like, Ted, why are you tormenting me? And Ted was like, well, to be honest, I see some of myself in you. And I was trying to create a new protege, a man who is worthy of the $1 million title. And Cameron was like, really? He's like, yeah, actually. But then out came LA Knight to say, who's really should be the $1 million man successor? This guy. Am I a millionaire? No, but it's just a matter of time. And at the end, Cameron Grimes says, get out of my ring. I'm having a talk with Ted. And LA Knight lays him out, and Ted goes, you ain't get it yet, kid. And leaves with LA Knight.
Damn you, Ted DiBiase.
Did we just see Cameron Grimes turn face and LA Knight hook up with Ted DiBiase? Because if so, I'm on board.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm not mad at any of that.
No. It gives LA Knight something to do. It puts Cameron Grimes back in a white meat baby face position where he should be, frankly. Even though I kind of enjoyed this Healy stuff, chicken shit heel stuff, I fully believe our boy Trevor Lee should be, chasing.
He can do either. And that all of a sudden is a great feud. LA Knight and Trevor Lee, excuse me, you got me doing it. And bastard Cameron
North Carolina.
That's a good feud.
Yeah, it is. Good first feud for LA Knight too.
Absolutely. And also, it's not a bad time to have Cameron Grimes turn face because his entrance music was performed by Hosea Williams, who just got fired today. So now, even more sympathy for him. So yeah, fantastic all around. If this is how it's going to turn out, and he's not Ted DiBiase's protege, he's actually going to be in a feud with him, but the feud is actually going to be carried out and executed by LA Knight. Done. Well played.
Indeed. Kyle Cotton threw it 100 bits, said, I guess Ember is challenging Raquel at TakeOver since it was the exact same spot that they did with Walter, Trent Seven, and Tyler Bate. The Dakota feud is coming. I feel she's going to take the title off Raquel. What? Also, props to Taya and Cora. Taya looked like a star, and Cora's progressed a lot since the Dusty Classic. She's TV ready now. Agreed there.
And since AEW as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, definitely agreed.
She was another one. She was one of those that came over in that class 18 months ago when Chris Statlander was gonna sign and then backed out and went to AEW. I think she was in that same group of ladies.
Yeah, and then popped over. So yeah.
Right.
But now she's here and look pretty good here. Yeah. Although, put her next to Taya and you can see Taya much farther along Taya is.
Totally. That's all those years of indies in Taya.
Absolute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Calthrin, another 100 bit, said this promo segment between Cameron, LA, and Ted felt very NWA. Really great stuff. Also, pour one out for Grimes' music composers Josiah. Out of a job again. How after Vengeance Day? I have no idea.
Yeah, well, and also, why it felt very NWA? Because it's because LA Knight is literally, it's like you just plugged in 1982 NWA into the back of his head, and every time he promos, it just comes out as let me talk to you. Now, you see, this guy here in the ring, he thinks that he's the man, but what you really got to know is I'm the man. When you look at me, you see a real thoroughbred, the kind of guy you can put your entire company on his big shoulders, his big wide shoulders. He's going to carry the entire company for you, Daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you something, Tony Schiavone.
Let me tell you something, Tony Schiavone. Let me talk at you. It's
really good.
He's just NWA.
Yeah.
A couple more things here on NXT. Pete Dunne and Bobby Fish had a bit of a war, but ultimately Pete Dunne pulled it off. Bobby Fish got beat down by Oney Lorcan. Pete Dunne's going on to get that number one contendership match next week. Wouldn't be surprised if Bobby stuck his fins up in there. Bronson Reed celebrated his North American title win with he came out nice little suit there, Bronson. Nice little mullet going on. Give a nice little speech about how this proves that if you're a kid being told by haters you can't do it, don't listen to him. Just grind it out. One day you'll be a champion just like me. It might take you 14 years, but you know what? You'll get there eventually. And who should come out, Nick? Another prophecy of yours comes true. Who should come out? Legado de Fantasma, headed up by Santos Escobar, who says, you know what? That's a North American championship. You know what's part of North America? Mexico. You had to work to be a part of this business. I was born into this business. I am this business. So I want your title. Oh, by the way, Canada doesn't count as North America. Little scuffle. MSK comes out. They all chase off MSK and Santos Escobar. Nice little feud going on. All right, we've got MSK and Legado next week. Bronson Reed and Santos Escobar. Yep, give me that.
Give me a 6-man tag with all 6 of them.
Yep, you can do that too. We just did it with Kushida, who we saw backstage posing with Reed. Run it back. Do it again with Bronson Reed. I'm cool with that too.
Yep.
Cool with that too.
Love Bronson Reed as a North American champion. I don't want Santos to come in and take it right off of him, but I love the idea of the feud and having MSK on the side of Bronson Reed. Fantastic.
Yeah, agreed. Mercedes Martinez had a match with Zeta Ramirez, and at the end, after beating her, because of course she did, at the end, Tian Sha shows up on the Titantron. There's some darkness, some fog, and at the end of it, Mercedes Martinez has that creepy little mark on her hand. She's been marked by Tian Sha. So here's how it goes, Nick. Is she going to work with Xia Li, or is she going to turn and join Tian Sha, or one and then the other?
She's always been that mercenary. She did the thing with the Robert Stone brand. Is that her kind of MO at this point? Is she going to is she just going to be another merc for Tian Sha now?
Let me put this in your head. She works as a opponent for Xia Li, who needs a little bit more dusting up. Mercedes has been in the business for 20 years.
Yep.
That's a great person for her to work with.
Yep.
So you have her work together with her as opponents, and then ultimately she gets beaten down, taken in, and hypnotized by Tian Sha. And then you have a new tag team in the women's division, Mercedes Martinez and Xia Li. Mercedes can cover for Xia's faults. You can have her just come in, kill, and then get tagged back out. And you have more depth in that division.
Oh, I like it. Oh, I really like that. Mercedes Martinez and Xia Li as a tag team. Yes, please.
Yep.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Kyle through 100 bit said, I appreciate teasing Santos here, and I was cracking up at the banter between Legado de Fantasma, but they should have gone with Swerve here. They have everything set up from before Bronson won the title. Maybe they pulled back because of how over Hit Row's reaction is. I think Hit Row's fine. Let that marinate a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think pulling the trigger on Santos here to get him out of the cruiserweight conversation and into the bigger title. You can always come back around once Santos gets there and bring back some of that storyline that we had in the cruiserweight division between Swerve and Santos.
Santos was just a champ Have Swerve come into this and become the North American champ when Bronson's done.
Yeah.
Is my feeling.
Yep.
Hold back on Swerve. He's in a gimmick. You put a belt on him, it's to the moon, baby. Not to rip one off, but it really is.
Mm-hmm.
A couple more quick things. Speaking of tag teams, Thatcher and Ciampa were once again sitting in front of their favorite metal door, talking about how they are going to break Grizzled Young Vets' limbs because they didn't like the fact that they're like, fine, we were done with you, but you want more? We'll give you more. Grizzled Young Vets cut a promo saying, we didn't come over here to feud with a couple of old bastards. We came over here to get the tag titles, so we've forgotten about you. Go away.
Yeah.
Cool. That's about it. I don't really have much more thoughts than that.
The sooner we get to Grizzled Young Vets and MSK in a long-running program, the better.
And the sooner we get the titles on Grizzled Young Vets, the happier I will
Totally.
be. And finally, Indy Hartwell running around backstage looking for Dexter Loomis, ultimately runs into Everrise and Drake Maverick, who tell her, oh, he's in this room over here. Goes into a dark room, turns on the lights, and there's all kinds of pictures all over the wall that are drawings of how sad and heartbroken Dexter is, and she realizes he really loves him, and aw. The index story continues. It's for some people, it's not my thing. I don't really care, but some people love it. And you know what? If you love it, more power to you. I can see why it's fun, but it's just there for me.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's cute.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's not anything that I'm jumping up and down in my seat about. I like it's a little story, but it's not taking away from anything.
Mm-hmm.
That it's fine. It's
fine.
It's side canon. I appreciate it.
Perfect. It's side canon. You know what it is? It's filling out the world.
Yeah.
It's filling out the world of NXT.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a good thing.
Kyle threw in 100 bits said, I want to see Frankie and Mercedes as a tag team, sort of in the vein of Rosemary and Taya in Impact after the Zaya feud.
Down the road. Yeah.
Listen, I do love the idea of Mercedes alongside Zaya with Chan Shah, and I mean, hell, you're probably still going to have Boa in there somewhere, but I like that. Beyond that, hell yes.
Does Boa even wrestle anymore?
I don't know.
What's he going to wrestle? What's going on?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Nick. The only thing I do know is that's the end of NXT, which means it's the end of our show, which means we only have one more thing to do, and that's a little segment we like to call our Moment of Positivity. The Moment of Positivity. That's right. It's the time on our show where we think back on the last few days of wrestling and come up with something that made us happy, that made us smile, that gave us the warm fuzzies inside. We want to share it with all of you so that you all can feel the same way. We can go back out into the world with a smile on our faces. So, Nick, what was your moment of positivity for this week?
Britt Baker coming out and referencing 316.
I knew it.
Saying Britt Baker DMD. And I was
and
just
the crowd,
like,
the crowd doing it too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm already. A couple years ago, I made a Becky 316 shirt and it sold like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go make a Baker DMD T-shirt in the same vein and put that
You're
up.
Get sued. You're gonna get sued.
No, not at all. Not at all. What about you, Sir Dangerous? What was your moment of positivity?
Cody and Anthony Ogogo having a weigh-in.
No, it wasn't.
No, I'm kidding. Of course it wasn't. That was hot garbage. That was hot stinking garbage. No, mine. Finn Balor and Karrion Kross.
Yeah,
That's just good. I mean,
no brainer.
On a show where we kind of underplayed Fish and Dunn, which was a great technical match, but it's because they felt like it was overshadowed by Finn and Karrion putting on an absolute goddamn clinic. That is the master level class in wrestling. And for Karrion Kross, a guy who was doing squash matches for so long, it's a relief to see the guy can go out there and work on the level of Finn Balor. He can match the intensity, he can match the speed, he can match the moves and the storytelling and everything. He can go out there and take Finn to that level, and Finn can take him to that level. It shows that he is everything that he professes himself to be. Is a reason why he cut ties in such an ugly way with Impact and went to WWE, because WWE said, we're going to make you a star. And he said, good, because I am a star. And you know what? He's proving himself right with matches like this. And it also shows how viable Finn still is as a star in the company too. So
yeah,
that's absolutely my match of the week. And also my mop, because it was incredible.
Yeah. Kyle threw 100 bits in, said, when Indy entered that room, all I could hear was all the things she said. Cover version from Poppy. I love this index story, especially Beth being matchmaker. That
Beth-
adds an
Beth-
interesting element to it for sure.
Beth being part of it is very cute as well, where she was just like, I want it to work. She's crying about it and everything. I love her overplaying.
And on the other side of the desk, Wade Barrett's just palming his hands. Oh, this index stuff is miserable.
Make it stop.
Let's see. Anna said my mop this week was being able to get to go back to NXT for the first time in a year.
No kidding.
It felt like being back
Congratulations,
home. The energy just felt so familiar. It almost made me emotional. So yeah, I can't wait. Thank you so much for sharing all the pictures and stuff and telling stories. All of you that are in Florida, please continue to share the pictures as you go to shows. All kinds of. I'm shaking literally because it looks like they're running straight up the center of the country, and I'm dying to know when they're coming east because I want to catch a few shows.
One of the locations they're looking at for SummerSlam possibly moving is Las Vegas. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yep.
I'm not saying.
I hear you.
I'm just saying.
There you go, guys. Thank you very much for hanging with us. Late night BWO live tonight. This is not going to become a regular thing. We had to do it. Thank you, NBA. But we only did it really because Double or Nothing is Sunday, which you should come hang out with us in Discord if you're not already in there. Sunday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific is the buy-in. Main show starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. We will be on right afterwards doing a recap, breaking down everything that happened on the show, going over all the outcomes, giving our little fantasy bookings and things like that, commentary as we go through the results and all that stuff. Linktree.com/BWO is the place to find all the links to all of our things, so make sure you head over there, like, share, subscribe, follows, all that stuff. Thank you guys for all the subs and bits tonight. Thank you to Mike Miller for that 50 bomb at the top of the show to kick us off. Really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody over on YouTube and Facebook for watching with us as well. We will see you guys Sunday for Double or Nothing, AEW Double or Nothing. Thank you guys for hanging with us. We really appreciate it. But until next time, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God,
would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.